Extremism is bad because ultimately I feel for the dogs who are facing it. Let's respect the people who have been affected by some incidents, and let's not say that nothing has happened. People keep denying the factors that there are other factors of urbanization and litter and municipal things that need to be mitigated to curtail this. Stray dogs need to be protected. There are way more people going after stray dogs, chasing them away, beating them up, mutilating them, taking out their frustration of the human world.
You talked about several factors that could lead a stray dog to sort of behave in a certain way, maybe bark or maybe end up biting the person who is walking past by the dog. But what are the main triggers?
When strays are in big packs, they have this prey drive that gets triggered into them like chasing a cat or a squirrel. So, similar to a cat or a squirrel that has a high pitched sound and moves really fast, young kids and sometimes women who shriek in a high pitched tone, they end up being the highest statistic that gets targeted from these packs. The only thing that I try to tell stray feeders repeatedly is that organize yourselves. If you just keep dumping chicken rice and massive clusters, not only dogs but crows and cows, all of the animals will start hoarding themselves in that area.
One myth that you want to bust today for everyone about stray dogs?
People are mixing everything up, especially the decision makers. They are mixing the stray dog population, the bite incidents, and the rabies all together and creating a very fear inducing environment. My message to the animal haters of Delhi NCR and of the rest of the country as well is that do not try to see people who are saving the dogs as your enemy.
Recently, the Supreme Court passed an order, and this order was about rounding up all the stray dogs in Delhi NCR. And this order is something that could change the way we deal with street dogs in India. And it has raised concerns among animal welfare groups, dog feeders across the city, and also experts. And to cut through the noise, we are today speaking with Adnan Khan, who's a dog behavior expert and founder of K9 School in New Delhi. Adnan, thank you so much for joining me in this conversation at this crucial time. Thank you so much for taking time out.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Charlotte.
Adnan, my first question to you will be about your first reaction to the Supreme Court's order. What went through your mind as someone who works so closely with dogs on a daily basis? Can you share what was your first reaction?
So, I mean, it's been over a decade that I've spent and dedicated towards, the well-being of animals, trying to understand their behavior and explain to people on how to coexist and how to kind of decipher what they've been trying to say. When I first heard about this, obviously, I share the sentiment of all of the dog lovers, and there was a whole wave of fear and panic for whoever has been taking care of street dogs. On top of that, for me, on a behavior expert level, obviously, my first reaction was one of curiosity, and why curiosity? Because I am curious and I want to understand that beyond this vague and broad statement that has been given out, what is going to be the actual course of action around this? It's easy to make a statement for someone who is not actually on the field doing it, but how are we going to just start picking up, the strays and putting them in a shelter? Three simple questions I want to ask from that very statement is that do you have enough vans? Do you have enough handlers to pick up all of the dogs that you have declared that you would? It would take you many years to go through that. Let's assume that suddenly you do end up having so many thousands of vans and handlers. Where are they going to go? And where are these empty spaces of land that are suddenly going to be dedicated to stray dogs? What about the food for maintaining them and the vaccines and the infections that could spread? Who's going to be paying for that? That obviously is going to be coming from the taxpayers' money as well. So I think there is a lot of curiosity and a lot of questions from me to understand that what next, beyond just saying it. So.
Absolutely. Those are legit questions that you're posing, and that also makes me curious. And what also makes me really curious is is this the right approach, Adnan, to make our roads safer? Because we know from our experience and also the kind of visuals that we have seen that have surfaced lately on social media, where we see uh, dogs biting people on the road. There are some instances where these are also pet dogs. But you clearly are sort of indicating that this could not be a practical way to make our roads safer. But tell me something, if I'm someone who's scared of dogs, and it is very, very hard for me to believe that living and coexisting with dogs is a practical way of living, and this could be the right way to make my society safer for everyone and for me. From a behavior science point of view, do you think this is a reality or a myth? And are dogs generally really aggressive?
So, I mean, I would definitely want to take a more moderate stance on, because there are always two extreme factions. One who are obviously very protective of the stray dogs, and they kind of accuse that such a thing never happens and it must be someone else's fault. And at the same point of time, the ones who are scared of dogs or who are kind of, not really willing to coexist with them, they also sometimes overinflate a certain situation and magnify a certain thing. So on both of these factors, extremism is bad because ultimately I feel for the dogs who are facing it, and the only way possible is to bring all of the people together. And the common sentiment that everyone shares is that the excessive increase of stray dog population should stop, right? Both parties would come on the standpoint by saying that we don't want to multiply the population of stray dogs, whether it's the dog lovers or the ones who are scared of dogs, right? They should come at the common point that this is what we want. Now, to achieve that, the simplest thing is in population control is neutering and sterilizing all of these animals. I'll just walk you through on this discussion, walk you through the math around this. Let's just entertain again the fact that, okay, people are able to clear out all of the dogs that exist in Delhi today. They're able to pick them up and put them in a van and some imaginary shelter as well. Now, there would be at least 5 to 10% dogs who would be hiding, or, they wouldn't have gotten caught because of, let's say, infrastructure, or the dogs have run away or hidden somewhere. Within 6 months, those dogs are very likely to create another litter, and then those litters amongst themselves will inbreed, and in the next 12 months they are exponentially multiplying. So this move has no impact on the population control, and tomorrow someone who's scared of dogs is still going to see the same number of dogs out on the roads, because nobody has done the economics or the maths around it. It is just a blanket statement, as if more of an opinion than a ruling, because the ruling requires a whole manifesto and agenda around the implementation of things as well. Now, coming to the public sentiment that, okay, people are really scared, there are two, three things. One is that there are a lot of politicians and certain, information distribution houses who are obviously over, magnifying things and, drilling this fearful sentiment amongst people. Let's respect the people who have been affected by some incidents, and let's not say that nothing has happened. Let's say that if five such things have happened, they have been declared as 2000. But even for those five things, I repeatedly keep saying that number one problem is inbreeding and excessive breeding, right? Garbage is a massive problem. New areas development where there used to be forests and wildlife and new colonies have come up. Forests get chopped and suddenly it is becoming a builder's land and you develop. So people keep denying the factors that there are other factors of urbanization and litter and municipal things that need to be mitigated to curtail this. right? And nobody's questioning where the money for the neutering is going, as a matter of fact. For people to feel more secure, honestly, they need to connect with dog lovers because they can guide them on how to not shoo the dog, not chase the dog away, not show extreme anxiety and fear when there's a dog around. And this is a generational thing. Parents will teach the kids to throw rocks at dogs. They will tell them that stay away from a dog, you'll get rabies. So all of this is being grilled from generation after generation. So education, schools, awareness, and I give out free awareness classes to people for mitigating their fear of dogs. So a lot of times I have been able to talk someone out of their fear of a certain dog. And let's entertain the fact that some people did get chased, but it is their body language that triggered that dog. Like, if it was a
And
thing
that
that
that was actually my next question to you, Adnan. You talked about several factors that could lead a stray dog to sort of behave in a certain way, maybe bark or maybe end up biting the person who is walking past by the dog. But what are the main triggers that causes this, and how often someone like me or anyone who is most of the time surrounded by street dogs would unknowingly create those situations? Can you give me some examples?
Absolutely. So now talking about where has this end up coming from? Number one thing is that the biggest impact is that stray dogs need to be protected. There are way more people going after stray dogs, chasing them away, beating them up, mutilating them, taking out their frustration of the human world onto a, voiceless stray dog. So they are always in fear and anxiety and hesitation towards people. Kids are also being trained to chase them away and throw rocks at them. Now, on top of that, when strays are in big packs, they have this prey drive that gets triggered into them like chasing a cat or a squirrel. So, similar to a cat or a squirrel that has a high pitched sound and moves really fast, young kids and sometimes women who shriek in a high pitched tone, they end up being the highest statistic that gets targeted from these packs. But it is also not all of the people. If you see the CCTV footage, 20 people are walking normally and there's only one person that ends up triggering that dog. So the triggers are many, but the percentage is very small. They are sitting there peacefully, not disturbing anyone. What if somebody has thrown a rock at them and then starts running away? What if somebody has been for the past 7 days repeatedly shooing them, and then this is the eighth day that they get chased away? Right now, coming to the factor of what animal haters keep saying, that the feeders are the problem and things like that. The only thing that I try to tell stray feeders repeatedly is that organize yourselves. If you just keep dumping chicken rice and massive clusters, not only dogs but crows and cows, all of the animals will start hoarding themselves in that area, and automatically other people will make a target out of you. Make a organized community in each block. Connect with a behavior specialist so that you know how to keep the dogs neutral and trigger free, for example. So, but all in all, like I said, it is institutional and a systemic thing, from the urban development and the garbage and the sewage and the litter. Those are the baseline triggers before we even come to this, social factors.
Interesting. Coming to the awareness part of the conversation that you mentioned earlier, and you said that you give free demos and classes on this, which is great. Can you tell me instances where you might have first encountered like a big misunderstanding someone would have about street dogs? One is that. And secondly, someone who might have sort of changed his or her behavior towards the street dogs. What exactly did the person go through? If you can share something.
Right. So picking up misunderstandings, I have been kind of flooded with thousands of them throughout my career, and all the way from when I was younger and an individual welfare, rescuer of challenging cases. A lot of local police stations, their DCPs, would bring me in to mitigate between two parties who are against a certain dog. One side says that this dog bites, and the other side tries to protect them. A lot of times I've tried to find middle ground, but colonies, let's say, that are on the outskirts of Delhi and just recently developed. They have people coming in, from different other colonies, and they really don't accept. They would happily poison the strays and dispose of them, for example, as opposed to finding a middle ground. Now, more on the positive side, in Delhi and Gurgaon, there are some neighborhoods that have taken this upon their stride. And for example, there is this colony of my parents, for example, which is in Vasant Kunj. And then there are a few like Nirvana Country and DLF colonies that have gone together as an RWA, invited us as behavior specialists to guide the entire pet policy of the neighborhood, where they should be fed, how to reduce any kind of behavior challenges. And we found middle ground. All of the complaints completely went away as soon as we did our consultation and visit in the colony. So every RWA, colony by colony, should come together and bring in their local experts to try and ask what is the best way to keep the strays happy and calm and secure. And all the people who fear dogs should also have a welcoming space without always getting triggered by them, for example. So it only happens through development and through positive policies, as opposed to throwing them and cleaning them up and eradicating. And this makes them feel like vermin, like pests, for example. So
Adnan, you said, how to create that welcome space. Someone who's watching this video, say, an animal hater, uh, how do you convince that person that the person has the ability and the potential to probably mitigate this and create that welcome space? What should that person do? I mean, say I am someone who is completely, I would disagree with whatever you are saying till now, up till now. What is it that you would tell me to convince me that I can also love strays?
right. Let's not go directly to the love strays, but my message to the animal haters of Delhi NCR and of the rest of the country as well is that do not try to see people who are saving the dogs as your enemy, first of all. Join us, maybe not in petting them, rescuing them, taking care of them, but trying to understand what the animal wants. And if everyone is on the same side, that we want less of the overpopulation, even the animal lovers do not want any of their, strays to end up, getting into trouble or getting accused for a bite or end up getting triggered or any such thing. If all of the people get together, they can come and put together common rules and common system. Number one thing is that, let's say if you have 6 or 10 strays in your colony in a certain block,
Yeah.
all the people come together, put in 200, 500 rupees, they will neuter all of them. So the population will never go beyond that for the next 10, 20, whatever number of years, till a sudden rescue or an urgency kind of comes into place. So here you have capped the population. That's a benefit for the animal haters as well, that they don't get to see more litters and more strays and all of that. Secondly, have fixed feeding spots and fixed feeders. This should not be a garbage disposal cycle that whoever has extra food in their house finds a dog and throws it at them. There should be a certain designated stray feeding spot. What happens from there is that any single dog that's showing any small behavior of irritation as well, call the trainer right away, call the behaviorist right away. They'll come and see what's happening. They'll see why the dog is triggered or frustrated. If the dog needs to go for a boarding for 10, 15, 20 days, have a rehabilitation, de-stressing, and come back. All of this can be done colony by colony, block by block, but it should be initiated by the RWA and it should be initiated by the animal haters. Because once they realize that this is the solution, stopping the overpopulation, then checking the behavior and making sure that the strays and the caretakers have a safe and welcome space, they are free to roam around the rest of the colony and there'll be no single dog increasing more than that. But one more thing we have to keep in mind is that all of these new colonies, for example, in new Greater Noida extension or new Ghaziabad extension, NCR is, expanding in its circumference. People who come into these townships, they don't want to see poor people around. They don't want to see dogs or cows because the sign in their mind of personal wealth and development is clean and dog-free areas. So even if the dog hasn't done anything, they have this resentment festering into them that they want to just poison them or kill them or dispose them. To those people, I have a message that these dogs were there before your property became a township or an apartment complex. It was just barren land, and these dogs existed in this address before you came in. So that is extremely unfair to just keep building new townships and weeding out the flora and fauna from there for their benefit.
Beautiful, Adnan. In my colony also, there are a bunch of people who continuously and consistently they make sure that the street dogs over there and even including the cats, they are taken care of. And it's not an easy task. You have to have everyone on board. But the points that you shared
Absolutely.
today, I think it's really, really helpful for anyone who's watching this right now. Last
Thank you.
word from you. One myth that you want to bust today for everyone about stray dogs?
So, one myth that I want to bust on a massive systemic level is that people are mixing everything up, especially the decision makers. They are mixing the stray dog population, the bite incidents, and the rabies all together and creating a very fear inducing environment. Rabies numbers, there is a separate entity, government sponsored, that takes care of the rabies reduction. And, just giving a blanket statement by saying all the bites that happened were also all rabies, all the strays that are increasing are all rabid, mixing all of this up to create that, fearful sentiment is not going to help anyone, because there should be three separate institutions: one for the animal behavior to guide and create awareness, like we have discussed; one only the animal birth control department; and one only for the rabies and the vaccination and the veterinary side of things, so that we can actually have proper data and numbers, and not just a statement that, oh, strays are too many, let's take them away and the rabies will go away. I think that is a very under researched kind of a statement, and it has happened 4 5 times in the past where they just banned all the breeds without checking if the breeds have even arrived in India or not. They, 20 breeds out of that list of 100 haven't even seen India's soil, and they banned it. So it was really a copy paste kind of a ruling, and this also seems like a knee jerk blanket statement without any understanding के ये सब होगा कैसे, like how are you going to do it, like.
Thank you so much, Adnan. Thank you so much for sharing all those things. And I hope everyone who's watching this video, they sort of get a little bit of awareness. And if they are anywhere, get in touch with Adnan if you want a free awareness class. And thank you so much, Adnan, once again for sparing some time out for this conversation. And thank you, viewers. If you like this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel, The Indian Express. And we are continuously covering this. I would not say street dog menace, it's street dog issue. And we all have to come together on board to make sure that we create an environment where all of us can coexist. Thank you so much. Thank you, Adnan. Thank you.